Good morning, it's Rob Pear. How are you? Today is June 12th. We are doing our weekly updates on ever since the COVID crisis on March 15th on townhouses and condominiums in Upper Manhattan. Who are we? This is Harlem Lofts. We are a real estate firm located in Upper Manhattan at 124th and Lenox Avenue, or right at Martin Luther King and Malcolm X Boulevard, actually. And we've been in the business for over 20 years in Upper Manhattan. We do these market reports on the area, and now we are doing a web series for weekly updates ever since shelter in place started on March 15th. So the data that we're going to go over next is from March 15th to June 12th, almost 3 months. Again, harlemlofts.com. Look at our resource page if you want to follow us on YouTube. All the links are at the bottom of our website. And for free information and market reports on the area, you can look at the resource page on the top right. And so let's get down to it. We'll start off with the townhouse market in Upper Manhattan. First, we'll talk about what has happened to the properties that have sold, and we'll compare that to the exact period of last year. Again, starting from March 15th, if you look in blue, that's the 2020 number of sales for townhouses. And you'll see it's broken down by week, and you'll start to see towards the end, if you look at the red, that's 2020. And if you'll notice in the red, out of the past 5 weeks, there's only been one sale that was recorded. This is recorded sales. So you're starting to see a trend. So we'll just go back to 2019. We had 20 townhouses trade in Upper Manhattan, free market and fair market townhouses trade during this period. In move over to 2019, we've had 9. So we're now below the 50% mark of the amount of townhouses traded this period. As far as sales volume on your next chart, you'll see we're right at 50% of last year. We're at 44 million in 2020 of townhouses that traded, and we are at 22 million for this year. So basically, what that's telling you is that, yes, a little less than half of the amount of townhouses traded, but at the same average price. So if you loop them all in together, you're at 50% of sales from last year, and you're roughly at 50% of sales volume. So the pricing hasn't changed, but the amount of transactions have changed. So that's where we are on what is traded. Let's talk about what's on the market and what sellers are doing with their properties that are on the market right now. Okay, so we'll talk about what's on the market and what sellers are doing with those properties that are on the market. So with the closings being limited, I can tell you that we're up to 60 properties on the market. Normally it's 90, 94, 96. So we're still 30% down on the amount of properties that are on the market to look at for a buyer. But out of those properties, if you look at the green, it says percentage of properties with discounts. So we broke this down into the 4 million is red, 4 and up, 3 to 4 million is orange, green is what we're going to pay attention on, that's 2 to 3 million, and then blue is below 2 million. If you notice the green, it says hovering around, and this is by the week. So if someone discounts their property 4 weeks ago, we keep it in the inventory. We don't, that discount usually stays in place. So what we're seeing is the sellers with properties priced between 2 and 3 million, 36, if you look at the chart there, to 40% of those people each week are discounting their properties. And then if we'll flip over to a new chart in a moment, and if you look there, it'll talk about the amount, the percentage that they're discounting their properties. So right now, green, which is 2 and 3 million, is the most activity for sellers making changes, trying to move their product. And they are 30 to 40% of those sellers are discounting their properties between 14 and 15%. And this has been consistent since since March. As far as what's on the market, we have 60 up from 54. We have one above 4 million, which is, there's only 5 total. So we added one in that category. We've added 3 from the 3 to 4 million range. We added 2 from the 2 to 3 million range. So nothing's sold in the past 2 weeks, but we have 5 new listings on the market. Not us, but all of the brokers in Upper Manhattan. This is data that we pull for everyone. So that's what you have going on. We anticipated an uptick in the amount of properties. I thought it would be a little more aggressive, so there's only been 5 added this week, but we do think that in the next coming weeks you'll see more. So hopefully that's helpful, and if you're a buyer, I can tell you that instead of worrying about deep discounts, if you really believe in Harlem and Upper Manhattan in the long term, I would say let's take a look at these premium properties that are out there, put together a nice package that's reasonably priced, and get that property that normally could have a bidding war in a different market, and land yourself a trophy property during this time, rather than trying to buy the properties that are on the fringes with sellers that are trying to dump them, because all the investors right now are calling us looking for the problem properties and sellers that have to sell. But what they're missing out on is some of the premium inventory out there that normally you wouldn't be able to touch. And right now, maybe you could get that those properties for 10 to 15% off. So that's my recommendation to a buyer. Okay, hope that's helpful, and we'll talk about condos next. Okay, let's talk about the condominium market. The condominium market in Upper Manhattan, if you look at the charts here in the blue, you're going to see number of sales. And we had, in this period last year, from March 15th to June 12th, data through June 11th, we had 59 properties sell in Upper Manhattan, condominiums. This year, we've had 25. So, and we'll talk about sales volume in a minute. What that means, I think the condo market is definitely starting to show some cracks as far as being turning into a real buyer's market now, where townhouses are holding their own, but condominiums, we're at 60% fewer properties sold this year than last year, and inventory is actually a bit higher than it was last year. So if you're out looking for a condominium and you're a buyer, this is an area where I think it's starting to show some weaknesses for the sellers. So it's definitely turning into a buyer's market for condominiums. The sales volume is right at a little below 50% of last year. So the condo market, we haven't had a closing in 3 weeks, which is very unusual. So either paperwork is backed up and people are putting off the actual closings. What my guess is here is that everybody that was getting loans had to go get their lending paperwork reviewed, and likely reappraise their property and cause some delays. So hopefully we'll see a spike of some of these closings that were just delayed. But for the past 3 weeks, it's been pretty quiet on closings in the condo market. And again, I think a lot of that's going to be attributed to the lenders redoing the packages once we got into this crisis, and that takes time. It's harder to get him to do a new appraisal. And so there's probably some delays there, but I do think the condo market is showing some sure signs of weakness as far as if you were a seller. So if you're a buyer, this may be an opportunity to get that prime condominium that you've always wanted on the top floor with beautiful views. Hope that's been helpful. We'll talk about the rental market and close out next. Okay, so in closing, we'll talk briefly about rentals. Again, we are not a rental firm per se, but we do rent townhouses and condominiums within townhouses and anything townhouse related, or the sexy inventory. We don't do cookie cutters, but we are very busy at rentals right now. That seems to be the most activity. We have three or four houses ranging from entire houses, townhouses ranging from $4,500 to $25,000 a month. And you can go on our website and see some of these, or give us a shout at rentals@harlemlofts.com, and we'll send you over that inventory. But our inventory is pretty unique stuff, not the cookie cutter condos or cookie cutter rental buildings. All right, so thanks. It's June 12th. This is our weekly update. We'll be back at it next week. If you want to keep up with what's going on, our market reports, we have our second quarter, which is going to be very interesting, which is going to close out June 30th. We're going to have a seminar/webinar now at our office. You can register on our website. That's going to either be on the 10th of July or the 17th of July. If you go on our website now, you should be able to register, and then we'll send you the confirmation of when it's going to happen. But that's going to be when we do our full report here for second quarter, and we're really going to have a lot of insight on how COVID-19 and the Black Lives Matter movement has really affected the current real estate market, because we have some history behind us, and then we'll be able to make some sort of predictions for the future. Speaking of Black Lives Matter, please go to our website. I put a video out there to recognize this unfortunate time that we're going through right now, and I encourage you to watch that, please. As far as events and resources, go to our harlemlofts.com to our resource tab, or for our weekly updates, you can go to the bottom of our website and like us on YouTube, and subscribe on YouTube, and you'll get these updates in your inbox. I hope it's been helpful. Hang in there. It looks like we might have a unique summer, but we'll keep updating you on the Harlem real estate market regardless of how it is moving. We'll give you the updates right here. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.